Hey everyone, Sean here. A friend of mine asked me to make a video showing how I make drum tracks using Guitar Pro and Easy Drummer. The technical side of things, that is, not how to write a drum track, but how to actually punch it in and get the sound out. So I'm going to run over my process of how I make drum tracks, original drum tracks for my songs. The first thing you'll need is Guitar Pro or Tux Guitar. I would recommend Guitar Pro 5 because Guitar Pro 6 doesn't let you write drums using the tabulature. Like, you can't punch things in like that. You have to click on the staff up here, I think. So I'd use Guitar Pro 5 or Tux Guitar, which is a free version of Guitar Pro basically. The first thing you'll need to do is set up your percussion track. In Guitar Pro, you do that by going to Track, Add, and then Percussion, so you add a percussion track. In Tux Guitar, you can go to any track and you can choose whether it's a percussion track or an instrument track here. After that, you'll need to get acquainted with all the keys that are used to trigger the different drums. In Guitar Pro, there's a button down here that shows what all the keys are for each drum. I'm not sure where that is in Tux Guitar, but I'm going to run over all the keys here. So we'll start with cymbals. 42 is a closed hi-hat. 46 is an open hi-hat. 44 is a pedal hi-hat. 49 is a crash cymbal. 57 is the other crash cymbal. In Easy Drummer, once you put it through there, I think 49 comes out to be the higher pitched crash cymbal, and 57 is the lower pitched crash cymbal. So I think it's actually backwards in Easy Drummer of what it is in Guitar Pro. Next up, 52 is your China. 55 is a splash cymbal. 51 is a ride cymbal. 53 is the ride bell. 59 is another ride cymbal, but I don't use it. I only need the 51. But I guess if you're doing like dual ride parts, you can have both of those going on. After that, you have your snare. Snare is 38. 40 is also a snare, but I don't use that one. I don't think there's any difference. Moving on to toms, 48 is the highest tom. Followed by 47 is the first rack tom. Then 45 is the second rack tom. 43 is the first floor tom. And 41 is the lowest floor tom. Finally, we have our kick, which is 36. 35 is also a kick, but again, I'm not sure whether that makes a difference. There are a couple other hits that I occasionally use, but those are the main ones for the drum kit, so those are the ones I know off the top of my head. Next up, I would recommend keeping your drum track organized when you write it. Similar to real drum notation, I like to keep my kick drums on the bottom. Here's one of my songs. You can see I have all my kick drums on the bottom, or pedal hi-hats are also on the bottom, so feet are on the bottom line. Cymbals are on the top two lines. Snares and toms are in the middle. And that just makes it look like almost real drum notation. So that's more organized than just putting notes wherever. As for rhythms, in Guitar Pro we have this window here where you can choose the rhythmic value of each note. You have a triplet button here. If you right click it, you can choose different values, like quintuplets and stuff like that. If you ever need to tie notes, which isn't really a big thing on drums, but that's L, so you would go over to the next part where you want to tie the note and hit L, and that'll tie notes together. Another useful thing is grace notes. Say on your snare drum or whatever, you want to or not grace notes, sorry, ghost notes. If you want to do a ghost note on the snare or on hi-hats or anything, you just type in the note, so a snare will be 38, and then you press O, and that toggles between a ghost note and a standard hit. Then in Logic or whatever, Cubase, you can go back in and adjust your velocities even more. Arrest is just R, so that's easy. A grace note or a flam, you can do two ways. The first way is you type in the drum you want to do the flam on, so say a snare drum, and then you can hit G, or this button here is a grace note. Then you can choose which drum you want to flam with. So normally you would, do a grace note with another snare, but you could do it with something else. You can choose the rhythm of the flam and all that. In the latest version of Guitar Pro 5 for Mac, there's a few bugs in it, and one of them is that you can't, or grace notes don't really work. So what I do is I put two snare drums on top of each other, and then I do this. This is meant for like strumming, but it works for this. You do that so that the notes hit slightly one after the other, and that's how I do flams, at least. That's probably all the tools within Guitar Pro that I use for writing a drum track. So I guess I'll show you how I would go through and write a drum line. I've been doing this for a few years, so this is probably the most effective way for me. The fastest way for me to work. If I have an idea in my head, I'll probably go through and I'll start with cymbals usually to just get the track kind of laid out, and then I'll add in my kick drum to get the rhythm laid down, sort of thing, and then I'll add in snares and toms and fills. So let's say you have kind of like we'll go with a metal groove. I would write, that would be the first thing I would do, would be 4 beats on the cymbal. Then I would copy and paste that through 4 bars. And the reason I would do that, and the reason why I would leave rest, is so that you can go in and add in your 16th note bass drum pattern. So let's say we're doing that was not right. So there, I have my cymbals and kick drum laid out already, and I'll finally go back and add the snares in. Maybe add some other cymbals in there. So there, I've just made that a triplet. Then your tempo button's over here. I'm not sure where that is in Tux Guitar. Sorry, I don't really use Tux much. So yeah, then I might copy and paste the whole section. Might cut out the final bar so that I can add in a fill. So there's a basic little drum line. Let's see. Oh, another little thing that's handy is for blast beats. Here's how I would write those. There we go, sorry. It really depends on the rhythm of it, you know, whether you're doing triplets or 16th notes. Let's say for 16th notes, I would write out the first two kind of hits of the blast beat, and I would put an accent on the first one, just so the blast beat isn't static all the way through. And then I would copy that throughout. So there we have that. And then I'd go in and add in my other accents. So we'll start it off with a cymbal. And so here we have. So there's how I would make blast beats. If you really wanted to make your drum notation nice, you could go in and take out all the arbitrary rests and change the rhythm values. Unless you're, you know, if you're making drum notation out of this to actually read as a drummer, this might be handy. But for just programming your MIDI tracks, it really doesn't matter. So let's go with that. There's our little demo we've made. I guess let's touch on a few other little things actually. Just on how to use Guitar Pro. So to create a new bar, you just press the next arrow or enter. You can change your time signature up here. So there's we've got a bar of 3/4 now. You could do like 7/8 or something. You can change that here. You have repeat signs up here. I don't really use those much. I usually just copy and paste the section. And now I think that's about it. If you want to do like cymbal chokes and stuff, I just change those articulations in Logic rather than, I don't even think you can really do it here. One thing you can do here is heel splashes, which is where you hit the open hi-hat and then you close it with your foot. So let's throw one of those in right here. So I would hit the open hi-hat and then right away a pedal hi-hat, which is 44. So you hit it open and then you close it with your foot. And I'd put a hammer on in there, which is H. I don't know if you actually need to do that though. So let's listen to what we have here and then we'll plug it into Easy Drummer. So yeah, there we go. It's not the best drum line, but it kind of showcases my process of different type of beats and how I work around in Guitar Pro. Another bug with this version of Guitar Pro is that you can't export MIDI, so I have to save it off and then open that in Tux Guitar. Okay, so here's our project opened up in Tux Guitar, and then you'll just go to the File menu, Export, and export the MIDI. Next, what you need to do is go into your DAW, Logic or Cubase or anything like that. Create a new project, create a software instrument track or a MIDI track, I don't know what it's called in other programs. So we'll open that up. Then you want to drag and drop your MIDI onto that track. So wherever you saved your MIDI to, just drag and drop it or import it or whatever. It'll import with other tracks, like if you have a guitar track in your Guitar Pro or anything like that, it'll import those as well. So you can just go ahead and delete those other tracks so that you only have your drum track. Change your tempo to whatever you had it for the song. I think we were at 160. You don't need to worry about editing time signatures, but if you're going in and recording over the song, it might be nice to have that structure actually laid out. But for now, I'll just do this. Next, you'll want to change your software instrument to Easy Drummer. I'll load up Drum Kit from Hell. It seems fitting enough for the beat. Okay, so let's just play through it right away. So, yeah, there it is. Yeah, and then within Easy Drummer, what I usually do, and I think this is kind of unnecessary, but I like to do it anyways, is I'll solo each track and bounce it out, and then import the audio files. So it's like I have actually mic'd up a kit and I have the audio file from each, or I have the waveform from each mic. You can also just route it through multi-out. The problem with that is you only have 8 outputs, I think, and you might have like 10 tracks, so you'll have to combine things, and it doesn't give you as much precision in the mix. But if you have superior drummer, I think you can do a bit more mixing within the plugin. So anyway, there's basically how to write out a drum track in Guitar Pro, get it into Logic, and run it through Easy Drummer. If anyone has any other questions, I guess just let me know and I'll get around to answering those. But yeah, for now, take it easy.